I pray that the Great Serpent will deliver us from our hardships.
You do not understand. I saw a Nazco, took measure of his burdens.
What you are describing is a dream, nothing more.
Not a dream. A message from the Great Serpent himself.
With all due respect to your craft, dear sister, now is not the time for incense and ash leaves. Or do you not see the depth of the crater before you?
On the contrary, brother. I see it for what it truly is. And if we ignore this vision, a Nazco will be lost to us forever.
Enough with the proselytizing. The Vindicator has returned. Ah, were you able to find Sahima? Perfect. I have no doubt Sahima's work is the key to stabilizing the morning device. If only the others had listened to her, we may not have lost so much of our great city. This leaves houses Dul-Kef and Fathol.
Politics can wait. Every moment we delay, a Nazco descends further into the void.
For the last time, faith will not remove the barrier. Science will.
It is the hubris of science that failed you in this moment. We reached out to the Great Serpent. This is his reply.
You claim he has forsaken us?
I do no such thing. The Great Serpent's reply is not an answer, but a question. Are we worthy of his grace? Until that is proven, your works will not succeed.
It sounds like you agree with me.
And yet, only one is the foundation for the other. But the proof is not in our words. It is in the vision. A Nazco's presence still persists in this world, and he seeks our aid.
Fine. I feel like I've lived this argument 1,000 times, and the only way to move past it is to concede to its nonsense. Vindicator, speak to my sister. Agree to her fool's errand, so that we may continue the work of saving this city.
How is your work coming along?
Our influence in the settled systems may be small, but all it takes is a foothold.
How can I be of assistance?
Vindicator, it's good to see you again. Perhaps the Great Serpent has blessed us with the second meeting to make up for the first one. A hostage situation is hardly the place to make a good first impression. And it's nice to meet you too. Now we can talk about the important stuff, like your favorite food. Mine is ice cream. Anyway, while it's good to take a breath and relax, I do like a good adventure. In fact, I have to admit, I'm a little envious of your situation. I'm stuck here in the house while you are traveling the stars, discovering new orbits, and building a bridge for the promised. I was hoping you'd say that. I promise you, you won't regret it. I don't want to brag, but I'm proficient at just about everything. Of course! Jinan Barun was a traveler, like yourself. He is proof that through exploration, we find our purpose. Oh, don't you dare. Don't doubt me like everyone else in my life. Because I know you're different. Yes, I don't look like a soldier. I barely pass for an adult. But I can hold my own. Great! And so you know, I'm not just any crew member. I have a lot of practical skills, and I soak up knowledge like a sponge. The Great Serpent has blessed us both with gifts. If we work together, I know we can help each other grow them. Not a lot of people know this, but I'm an expert with the sniper rifle. It's not so different from using a telescope. I've also studied ship reactor and EM weapon tech. I even developed a prototype for Varun hymns that's currently in production. Ever since I can remember, math and science came easy to me. And as any herald will tell you, innate abilities like that are a gift from the Great Serpent. They're signposts, a map for the promise so that we may find the best way to serve his will. All my research is now public, and the dangers of the morning device are known. To put it another way, the milk has been spilled. They don't need me to remind them to use a glass. And the coaster. You really should use both. Oh, thank you. I can't wait to start tinkering with your ship. We'll have to measure the progress in phantometers. But first, stupid question, but do you happen to know where my assignment is? Okay, no assignment. Not a problem. I'm used to delays. Just let me know when you have a place in mind. Keep the word of Jinan in your heart, and your nerves will always be steel. Not at all. Ask away. It's only a remnant of what it once was. The scaled citadel, trapped on the horizon, is a constant reminder of that. And yet, I still feel Dazra offers much to a visitor like yourself. To me, cities are like people. They have personalities, moods, and stories. Some days you want a teacher. Others you need a guide. And some days you seek neither. You just need a friend. Empathy for others, patience for the lost, discipline for what must be endured, and a working hand to pet the groats. By knocking with opportunity, whispers, rumors, and gossip can lead to new adventures. You just have to lend your ear to them. A city is the perfect companion. It gives you fun, entertainment, and it's a great listener. Well, depending on where you are. Somber, for all it has endured. But also resilient, for the rebuilding and the work yet to come. Dazra and its people will rebound from this tragedy. I am sure of it. Need me somewhere? I got you. Sure, let's talk about whatever you like. It's a snake with two heads, pardon the pun. Our elder Razma leads the Ministry of Conjunction, and Jimal, her sister, is a mediary on the High Council. They are sisters in every sense of the word. Close, like-minded, but when they disagree, it's very much like nuclear fission. When the bond is split, energy is released, and kaboom! The world explodes. Okay, maybe it's not that dramatic, but you get the idea. Gavin is dear to me. unlike my other colleagues, with him I never feel like it's a competition. I can tell him about my research and not have to worry about him spinning it as his own. I don't speak often with my uncle Mujin. Him and my cousin Okim are always off doing their own thing. As for my cousin Mirek, he and I have never gotten along. I don't know if he sees me as a threat, but he has never treated me like one of the family. It is unfortunate, but fated. That's a complicated question. In the noble houses, there are two types of family. The ones who are born into it, and the ones who are brought into the fold. I was adopted into House Kadik as a teenager because of my gift. Yes. On the one hand, I am valued for my contributions. But what happens when I can no longer contribute? What is my worth to the house then? Unlike a lot of my cousins, I didn't join House Kadik until I was mostly grown. And ever since I joined, there's always been an element of you don't belong here. That I'm only a Kadik so long as I'm useful. Herald, bless you. It means a lot to hear you say that. I know I like to project confidence and act as if I know everything. But the truth is, it's all an act. Whenever I talk about something, it's as if I have this voice in the back of my head telling me I'm wrong. And sometimes that voice gets so loud that I have to scream my own praises just to drown it. I know that in my heart, but still, I can't help but feel like I'm one mistake away from losing everything. As if the ground itself is like sand, sliding out from under me. Anyway, thank you for the talk. I know a lot of this is in my own head, and you've given me a lot to think about. If you don't mind, I'd like to digest it a little more before we continue. You bet. Need my help? I bet you... Of course. Let's talk. I'm self-taught, actually. My parents died before I could remember, and I was left in the care of the orphanage. But I left at a young age to train as a herald, so I could someday spread the gospel of the Great Serpent. Very much so. To their credit, the heralds were patient. I was told to focus on reading, writing, and shooting. However, since I was left to my own devices, oftentimes I would make my own curriculum. And the more I read about Jinan Varun, the more curious I got about the physics behind grav jumps. But it wasn't until I met my father, Amon Kadik, that my path changed from herald to scientist. Razma and Jimal's uncle, on their mother's side. Due to his work, he was mostly removed from the politics of the house. But he was respected, and had enough favor among the family to adopt me without much dissent. That would be some trick if you did. No one has seen him for years. But while he was here, he accomplished much in service to House Faroon. We met in the strangest way. He was dealing with a mathematical problem, but came to the temple to pray for guidance. Oh, you should have seen the look on his face when I offered him the solution. It was the second most shocked look I've ever seen in my life. Oh, it was. I've tried to mimic it in the mirror sometimes, with varying results. From there, we discussed all manner of scientific theory for hours and hours into the night. At some point, the sun began to cut through the windows, and the heralds began to spill in for their morning prayer. And that's when I saw the most shocked look I have ever seen in my life. Because they all realized what I didn't until that very moment. My voice had come back. That's what Amon said too. So he adopted me into House Kadik to train me as his apprentice. For the next 6 years, Amon helped me grow from an amateur physicist to the person I am today. And then one day, he just disappeared. No one knows why. It was. But I didn't have time to really process what happened because of the work we were doing for the High Council. Regardless, that day I not only lost a mentor, I lost my chief advocate. My colleagues started to ignore me. They didn't respect me as a scientist, so of course no one listened when I warned them about the morning device. In a strange way, I had lost my voice again. Maybe in other fields, but I didn't expect them to stare the science in the face and still stick to their stubbornness. It's odd to say, but the disaster is what gave me my voice back. There's a comfort in knowing history will remember me kindly, even if my colleagues will not. I'm not sure I follow. There's nothing to reconcile. Our beliefs don't contradict science. Traditional scientists may differ, but they have a history of being close-minded. It's almost as if the older you get, the more stubborn and rigid your brain becomes. Like bread. Well, how would you describe dark matter? It's invisible, formless, not bound by the rules of electromagnetism. Yet without it, the universe cannot be explained. The motion of galaxies, the clusters and filaments, it all becomes a mystery when you remove this unknowable thing. The vortex of folded space is the same way. There are parts we understand, and parts that only make sense in the context of a greater being. That being is what we call the Great Serpent. Exactly! Nothing is given! Everything is dough! Anyway, sorry if I seem a little defensive. I'm just used to people not taking me seriously. I'm one of the best scientists in the world, but I still have to fight for respect, because I look so young. And I respect you, but it's only because we engaged each other with an open mind. Others don't. And it's not just science. I get the same dirty looks when I preach the gospel of the Great Serpent. No one wants to be lectured by a child. But if I was bald and bearded, I bet even the accursed would become true believers. Those who do not believe in the Great Serpent, they are cursed to die in the shrouding unless we can open their hearts to his teachings. Oh, that would be fun to try, just as an experiment? As long as they can restore my old face. I don't want to be stuck that way. But now I want to know more about your beliefs. Who do you think created our universe? That's an interesting theory. But what does the turtle stand on? And what does that turtle stand on? So is it organic, or a machine, or something more spiritual? Oh, I have so many questions, but we probably don't have time for a deep dive. But I realize you're being facetious. As a member of House Varun, clearly you wouldn't believe in anything save the Great Serpent. On that note, I think I need a break from this topic. Epistemological debates are fun, but exhausting. Let me know if that changes. Need a hand with something?
dare act with
Your
such
child
violence?